And now number 3 on the stories keeping to our theme today, that the U.S. may be overplaying its our way or the highway strategy, and how it may be sometimes resulting in unintended consequences. Russian President Vladimir Putin seems to be saying today that never has there been a better opportunity to sell Russian-made weapons. Is he reacting to what appears to be a global pushback against our, some would call it, a braggadocious hegemony? For more on this, let's start with RT's Yulia Shapovalova.
In 2018, Russia supplied abroad 2% more military goods than planned. Today, Russia ranks second in the world as the military equipment exporter. According to Vladimir Putin, the country needs to do everything it can to maintain its leading position in the arms market.
Financial figures of Russia's military and technical exports have increased for the 4th year in a row and came close to the $16 billion mark. Foreign currency exchange earnings from the export of the military products increased by 45%, and the total order book reached a record value, almost $54 billion. Russia confidently ranks second in the global arms market.
In the top 3 of Russia's main buyers, India, China and Algeria, they account for more than half of all deliveries. But in January, Russia sold its equipment to 48 countries in the world. According to Rosoboronexport, the T-90MS tank is of particular interest to foreign customers. It's equipped with a new turret combat module and a modernized gun. The official price is not disclosed, but according to experts, it can cost more than $4 million. Another attractive model is the Su-35. Contracts have been signed with China and Egypt. This is a multi-purpose aircraft. Its cost is about $85 million. Talking about the air defense systems, the S-400 Triumph system and the Panzer S-1 anti-aircraft missile system are in greatest demand. The fact is, the military say that the S-400 surpasses the American Patriot air defense system in many ways. For example, Turkey is determined to get these installations worth $2.5 billion in July, despite any threats from the United States. India has also signed a contract for the supply of these systems for $5 billion. But Moscow is interested not only in the purchase of weapons, but also in transfer of Russian technology to customers. This is a long-term project involving the supply of spare parts, maintenance of equipment and its modernization.
Along with the export of armaments, including the most modern of its models, it's necessary to more actively address the issues of upgrading the already supplied equipment, help install service centres in the territories of the states, shorten the repair services.
According to the Russian military, in spite of the obstacles, the export of the Russian weapons continues to grow. This year, according to experts, will be no less successful. The main competitive advantage of Russian military equipment is the highest reliability at a relatively low price. Yulia Shapovalova for the news of Rick Sanchez.
And here to tackle the issue is one of our favorite geopolitical thinkers, former U.S. diplomat Jim Jatras. So you heard the theme of the day. Are we, Jim, and my God, you're a diplomat, do we sometimes, what is the expression? Bite our nose to spite our face? Or what is that expression?
Cut off our nose to spite our face.
Cut off our nose.
Yes,
in other words,
yeah.
we make great arguments that are going to make Americans go, yeah, go America, we're tough, we're great. But people overseas are seeing that, and if you do too much of that, you start to lose a little bit of credibility because you look like a bully.
I think that's part of it. Look, I mean, it was interesting listening to your first story about Huawei, and it's the same sort of thing in a way.
Yeah, they're kicking butt with sales.
Yeah. And look, I can understand that from any country's point of view, you say we want you to buy our stuff, our companies, our workers, money coming into our country instead of buying their stuff. And of course, in the international arms market, this is a huge competition. We used to have competitors like Dassault in France, and of course we completely destroyed them. But now I think as these weapons are becoming so much more sophisticated in their information technology, in their software, there are concerns that if you buy our stuff and then buy their stuff, there's going to be some leakage of the technology. You know, this is the threat being made against the Turks. If you buy the S-400s, we're not going to sell you the S-35s because that will compromise the S-35 system. And there's probably some truth to that. And then, of course, the other thing is that it's really a lot of it is whose friend are you? Whose side are you on? If you are our friend, you'll buy our stuff, not their stuff.
So that leads me to the question that I think as a diplomat you might be able to hone in on for us. Are we doing someone like Putin a huge favor by making countries turn on us and say, oh my God, the way the United States is acting, we're not going to deal with them. You know what? Hey, Vladimir, we're going to deal with you. We're going to do business with you and not them because of the way they are. I mean, is it possible that countries are reacting this way? India, Turkey, et cetera, China.
Those are guys. China, of course, has had a growing relationship with Russia for a while. India, Turkey have tried to hedge their bets. Obviously, Turkey being a member of NATO, but they're looking not only at the quality of the weapons, the price, and all of that, but also what's our relationship with these guys compared to how pushy are these guys. And I think that's part of it. You know, I think there's almost a kind of a rope-a-dope strategy that the Russians have vis-a-vis us, that they will watch us threaten friend and foe alike, threaten to sanction everybody, and say, we're turning people off.
Our frequent guest, John Jordan, who I was on the phone with just before we did this segment, and we were hoping to have him on, but we have a little bit of a technical glitch, mentioned something that really becomes important. If Putin does these deals with India, with Turkey, for example, this is not a one-time sale. He calls it ongoing revenue because that gives Putin the cutoff factor. If Putin says to Turkey or India, hey, you know what? I know you have our tanks, but we have the turbines and we manufacture them. We're cutting you off. They need to the relationship needs to be ongoing, so it's really beneficial. Mistakes we make now, we'll pay for a decade from now.
Sure, and there's nothing new about that, of course. I mean, there's questions of intercompatibility of weapons. If you're going to buy one weapon, it's like getting either Apple or Microsoft. You know, you want to have everything compatible with the stuff you already have, and there is the question of spare parts, technology, other kinds of support. That's always been the case. You think of the Iranians keeping their F-4s flying, trying to find American parts somewhere.
As an American, I worry that my country sometimes puts, you know, like a teenage boy, he puts his foot on the gas and doesn't know how to ride the brake. Are we putting too much of are we being a little heavy-legged or whatever it's called?
I think we are in terms of our overall global posture, and this is one part of it. You know, you could say the same thing about buy our freedom gas, don't buy the Russian gas. You know, it's the same sort of thing. I think we during the period after the Soviet Union collapsed, when we were the global hegemon, and still think we are, we think we can dictate terms to people.
So that's our mistake.
I think it's a huge mistake, and it is damaging our country and making our people less safe and less prosperous.
Jim, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great conversation. Smart stuff. Well, so you haven't heard that we're the ones covering the stories that you won't see covered anywhere else? In Venezuela, Kazakhstan. Let's go to Hong Kong. And the media reaction to that has been crickets. How about the way we cover those stories? What the hell does that mean? Wowee, wowee, wowee. That's the key word in this case, uprising. Keep? Can you believe that? Watching. This is the right thing for members of the media to do, to actually pick sides. Look, if you like what you see, subscribe.